Here in California, in Modesto, my dad is growing avocado trees, not just in the front yard, but in the surrounding neighbors' yards. And I'm just curious to how he's able to do that, and for them to bear so much fruit. Today he's showing me the grafting process of how to grow these Hass. You said Hass avocados? What are they
Hass
called?
avocados, yes.
Hass avocados. The ones that I see at Save Mart and in the stores, going for what, $3 a piece or $3 a pound?
Depending on the time of year, yes.
So how do you go about grafting?
Well, the thing is with a seed, you get a seed off of an avocado, you plant it in the ground, it will grow a tree. You never know if what that tree is going to produce. It may never produce. 10 years it could come up and produce a tree that has a fruit that's small and inedible, or it could produce a superior fruit, and that's what we're doing here. I have a seedling right here that may or may not produce good fruit. But the purpose is to take a branch from a tree that's already fruiting, which I have a lambhass branch that I cut from the front yard tree, and I'm going to graft it onto this seedling. So the purpose of that is to have a superior variety of fruit growing. It usually takes about 2 years before this tree will produce fruit, whereas if I just left it go as a seedling, it may take 10, 15 years if it produces fruit at all.
Because you're saying the neighbor's tree across the street, the one that's 20 feet tall,
Yeah, about 20 feet tall.
I seem to have like 10 avocados in a little area like this.
Oh yeah, superior varieties produce really good. That tree is very precocious. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this branch and I'm going to trim it down. And the goal is to get wood that's similar size. This is a seedling or rootstock, and this is called a scion, or the branch that you cut from, that you want to graft onto the seedling.
Scion.
Scion, yes, correct.
Like the car.
Like the car. And so what we want to do is we want to cut it back and find a spot on this tree that's very similar in size. That one looks like right there. That looks like about the same size. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut it. Oh, before I do, we have to sterilize. We have to sterilize our tools, because if we don't, I'm using peroxide here.
Why you gotta do that?
Well, because you're cutting surfaces of a plant that you're grafting, and they will fuse together just like a skin graft on a human being. So you don't want to introduce bacteria and diseases. So what I do is I sterilize it, and I make sure it's cut nice and even. And then again, we go back to where we're gonna.
So you say it's like grafting like a hand, like if you were, I don't know, or say putting someone else's liver in your body or whatever, doing a transplant.
Yep, it's like a transplant, exactly. So I'm gonna cut it right here.
So funny how you see how trees are so
As
like
you can
human
see,
beings.
that's a really good match. That's a perfect match. See how they exactly match up.
Oh, yeah.
So what I got to do is first I use parafilm, which is that you wrap the scion wood.
Parafilm. What is parafilm?
Parafilm is a plastic tape that is used in scientific labs for various reasons, but also grafters use it to protect the scion and the cut surfaces from drying out while the cutting the bud stock
Fuses together pretty much?
fuses together. Yes, and it takes approximately, I can usually tell in about 2 weeks whether or not it's going to take. Best time to graft is in the middle of the spring, like March, April, when both plants are rapidly growing. Here we are in July, and surprisingly, both rootstock and the scions are rapidly growing, so we can graft them together. It's not ideal because we're in the hundreds, so I'll have to put them, once I graft them, I'll have to put them in the shade while the surfaces fuse together.
That due just from the sun hitting it, or due to low humidity levels, or?
Yeah, the low humidity and the heat will dry it. Find my knife here. It's already been.
Where do the majority of these usually grow?
They originate in South America, Central and South America. This variety is Guatemalan cross. But what we got to do is we got to make a if you can get a close up of what I'm doing, you have to make a tapered point to this. You got to make a tapered point. That's not very good. And it takes a little bit of skill to do this, but my very first graft that I did 10 years ago took for the first time. You want a fairly smooth tapered point. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah. I see it.
And so then what we do is this thing's already starting to dry out, but I think it'll be fine. And this heat is so hot.
Like plugging in a light socket.
So then what we would do is we take the scion wood, and the cambium layers have to match. That's the point where in between the wood of the stalk and the bark, those two has to match up. That's I call the blood vessels.
Cambium layer.
Yeah, and if you can see, that's perfectly matched.
See that.
So what we do is we grab some more parafilm, because we want to make sure that those surfaces are nice and sealed tight from drying out.
Interesting.
Now this side is not perfect, but this side, you only have to have one side matched up perfectly. Ideally both sides, but this tape stretches, so it wraps.
Just looks like medical tape.
It's like skin, yeah.
It's funny how plants share a common relationship with human beings. It's like they're alive in a sense.
Yeah. Well, everything is alive. So then we got it wrapped up. It's nice and tight. And then I like to put a rubber band around the where the union is, so that it holds it tight as the two pieces grow together. That way they don't grow apart.
So when farmers grow these avocados for selling them in stores and whatnot, do they have to go about this process also?
They usually buy them this way, as do every fruit tree that I've ever seen, from almonds to peaches. They're all grafted, because when you plant a seed, they generally don't come true to seed. They may not look like the parent fruit. What I'm going to do is, I don't need that branch anymore. So you want to cut off any competition, and I like to clip the tips of some of these. It's starting to grow, and what it does is it forces the hormones in the buds in this plant, the roots, the scion, to go through and start the whole circulation process. So that's basically it. We've grafted an avocado. I'll put that in the shade, and in a couple weeks I'll take a look at it, and it'll probably be, looks like it'll take.